Hello, everyone. This is Professor Stewart, your professor for Speech 1321, Business and Professional Communication Online. The course is open. It's been active for a few days. Some of you have already started the course introduction, and you've seen the syllabus and you've seen the syllabus quiz. But I just want to go through the syllabus, maybe answer some questions that you might have, as well as go over some online course myths. I do realize some of you have taken online courses before, but it's possible that some of you, this is your very first online class. So I do want to go over some things, clarify some things, and maybe answer a few questions that might be lurking that you might have not yet posted online or you might just be thinking about. So hopefully this clears some stuff up. The information you see on the very first page of the syllabus, all of this is my contact information. My office phone number, I do realize we're online. Try not to call my office. I say that jokingly, but the chances of you reaching me are very, very slim. The only time you would reach me is when I'm in my office during office hours. And even then, that's a bit iffy because there's so many people coming in and out of my office. There's so many things going on campus. So your best bet's to email me, but you want to email me in D2L. You see my email address right there, sean.m.stewart@lonestar.edu. That's my faculty email address. Please reserve that for emergencies only. I do have an email in D2L. Students have told me it's pretty hard to find me in D2L. So they do either one of two things. They either just respond to an email message I've sent in the past, or if you look on the class, and then I think it says something like, email all faculty or email all instructors or something along that line. That gets to me as well. So utilize the email in D2L. But if you do want to come up on campus to visit with me face to face, even though this is an online class, I'm totally fine with that. You can come during the designated office hours. You can try to set an appointment with me. That's totally fine. I have no issues with that. And I have had online students come by to talk to me about the class in the past, or some have just come by just because they wanted to chat. But these are my office hours. These will change. I will update you on the change. I forgot I had something that I was a part of on the North Harris campus that I volunteered for. But once they change, I will update you. But my office is on the University Park campus. That's where I'm housed out of. And you see this D2L chat right here. I started that about 2 years ago. A year and a half or 2 years ago, mostly for my online class as another way to get a hold of me. So you'll see D2L chat, and I'll send emails about this as well. You'll see D2L chat function in your D2L. I utilize that chat from 6 to 7 p.m. on Tuesdays, and this is a immediate way to get in contact with me. So basically, we will be chatting in real time and live time. So it's not like you're sending me an email and then waiting a couple hours or possibly a couple of days for me to respond back to you. So don't be afraid to utilize the D2L chat. I do have a Twitter and a Snapchat. With the Twitter, I post information about school events, school functions, the class. I have been known to put bonus questions up on Twitter before. And with Snapchat, it's not like regular Snapchat where you can follow me and friend me and chat with me and all that stuff. You can't, I don't have it set up like that. How I do have it set up, I do post stories about things that we might be discussing in class, so you can view the stories and see how what we're discussing in class is actually applicable in real life. So be aware of that if you want to follow me on both of those platforms. The textbook is online in Connect. I checked this morning and only about 5 of you have signed up so far. One of the things I do want to tell you is you do get 2 free weeks of access for Connect. So some of you might not get paid until the 31st of this month, the end of the month. Sign up for the 2 weeks. Get your 2 weeks so you can go ahead and get started. And then when you get paid at the end of January, you can go buy the access card. The access card for this particular book is at the University Park bookstore. However, students in the past have told me, and I don't take this as an official word, but I've heard from students in the past that actually buying it through the publisher is cheaper than the bookstore. Now, I'm supposed to be telling you to go to our bookstore because it's owned by Lone Star College, but I say do whatever you want to do. If you want to buy it from the publisher because it's cheaper, well then hell, do that. Okay? save some money there and buy it from the publisher if you can. But you do need the textbook for this class. If you don't have the textbook for this class, you can't take the quizzes, and that's zeros all around. I've never had someone in my classes not buy the textbook and make an A or a B or even a C. Okay. Keep in mind this class is online, so online participation is warranted for you to be successful in this class. You'll do that through discussion boards, and discussion boards take the place of on face-to-face class interaction and discussion. So it's expected that you're frequently on the discussion boards, and it's expected that you're frequently logging in to connect. This shouldn't be something that I need to remind you to do. However, if you do not complete a certain amount of modules before a certain due date, you will be dropped from the course. If you don't complete 3 or more modules before March 8th, 5 or more modules before April 6th, or if you failed to take the syllabus quiz, I will drop you from the class. And students, some people say that's a little bit harsh. My response is I would rather you have the W on your transcript than to have the F. Okay, F's don't transfer. W's get excused. So not only that, a W doesn't factor into your GPA, whereas an F factors into your GPA forever. So that's my motto. That's how I see it from my point of view. But if you feel like you want to drop the class for whatever reason, I ask that you send me an email first. In my experiences, it seems some students overreact. They think they're failing or they're going to fail. And if you've asked students who've had me before, I'm totally honest with you. There's no point in me beating around the bush. I will tell you, yes, you're on the path to making an F, or no, you can totally turn this around. Also keep in mind, I do have the ability on my end to see if you've logged in, if you haven't logged in, if you've logged into the course. I can see if you've logged into D2L, but not my class. So be aware of stuff like that. And when you do log in, whatever you touch or whatever you hit on in D2L, whatever you open, don't open, close, don't close, I can see that on the back end. So just something to be aware of. If you have a question, don't hesitate to send me an email. That's typically how we chat or communicate in this online class. I do expect you to be professional in your emails. Remember, my name is not Hey. It is expected that you know how to send a proper and professional email. Speaking of, this is a business and professional class, so I would expect you to be professional when you send an email to me. That means filling out the subject line. That means starting with a proper greeting. Hi, Professor Stewart, this is Mary Jane from your Business and Professional online class, and then you go into the body of your email, and then you end with a salutation. You end with some sort of ending, sincerely, Mary Jane, or thank you, Mary Jane, something along those lines. That's what I expect when it comes to emails in this class. There are things called quick hits that I will upload for some of the chapters, not every single chapter, but for some of the chapter. And these are recordings that I've made either about something in the textbook or something in the class that I want to go further in depth on, or the quick hits are videos over things that aren't in the textbook that I think are relevant and you need to know for that particular chapter. They're not for every chapter. I try to keep them less than 15 minutes. Sometimes they do go over. The quick hits that I'll post for when we get to the public speaking portion of the class, those are going to be a little bit longer because the public speaking part is pretty relevant to your overall grade. Keep in mind that some stuff in the quick hits may not be, or I'm sorry, some stuff that I say in the quick hits could possibly be on your exams or your final exam. So it's up to you if you want to listen to those. And I'll be honest, that's not something I monitor. So if you listen to it, great. If you don't, you're taking that risk. All assignments are due Central Standard Time. We're getting more and more students taking online classes with Lone Star who do not live in Houston or who do not live in Texas. I think I taught over the December winter semester and someone was taking my class and they were in India. But keep in mind, when I say 11:59 p.m., and someone was in Alaska too. When I say 11:59 p.m., it's always Central Standard Time, so be aware of that. You should not be emailing me assignments. All assignments should go into the appropriate drop box. As I said before, it's up to you to log into D2L and connect every day. And if you don't log in every day, because I understand it's an extended semester, at least indulge me and log in every other day. It's pretty easy to get behind here. If you don't log in at least every other day or every, I hate to say this, every third day, if you don't log in regularly, you're going to get behind fairly quickly, and it's going to become a point where it's just tough to catch up. Chain of command, essentially think about it like this. If you have a full-time job or a part-time job, if you have a job and you work somewhere, let's just say you work at Starbucks, and you work at Starbucks in Vintage Park and you have an issue with your supervisor, you can't go to the CEO of Starbucks in Seattle and complain about your local supervisor at a Starbucks on the outskirts of Houston. You follow the chain of command. And what that essentially means is if you have an issue with me, the first person I expect you to come talk to is me. This is a communications course. I do have 2 degrees in communication. We will figure it out. Now, you may not like my answer, but we'll figure it out. If for some reason we don't figure it out, then you go to the next step, and that's the department chair, Dave Gare. His office is right around the corner from mine. And then if you and he do not figure it out, you go to Dr. Brandyberg, who is the dean. This is something I put in the syllabus, the basic needs. Last semester, after watching someone speak at a conference in Chicago, I think it's fantastic. Some of you listening to this are in school, but you may not have food to eat. You may not know where your next meal is coming from. You may not have housing. You may not know if you have money to pay for your rent at the end of the month. What I want you to understand is this. Lone Star College is here to help you. I'm here to help you. We will find ways. There are people walking around University Park right now who have no food, who don't know what they're going to eat tonight. And when I say don't know what they're going to eat tonight, I'm not talking about the difference between Chick-fil-A and Chili's. I'm talking about they literally have no food at their house because of certain situations. We just had an ice storm. We had Hurricane Harvey, and some people are just in an unfortunate boat to where they can't do that. If you feel that is you, just send me an email. And if you're too embarrassed, find a way to send me something anonymous so I can get in touch with certain people, because there are situations here at Lone Star College where we are here to help you. Also, we have counseling services available if you're suffering from anxiety, depression, family issues, domestic abuse, things of that nature. We are here to help you. Last week when the faculty came back, the person that's in charge of this for University Park was telling us, please tell your students about it. I want to meet them. I want to help them if they are in this boat. So keep in mind, you're paying for this. You have paid for this. I want you to be aware of it. And we are here to help you here at Lone Star College as much as we can. Please take a look at the frequently asked questions. It's just questions that have come up over the course of the semesters. One of the biggest issues is students saying, Professor Sean, I can't find anything, or this won't open, or that won't open, or I'm having trouble with D2L. I'm just going to be straight up blunt and honest with you here. If there's an issue with D2L, we as the faculty are the very first people to know about it. So typically when you have issues with D2L, it's typically your wireless. It's typically your internet. It's not actually D2L itself. However, if you do run into some sort of problems, the very first people you should contact is OTS, which is basically the IT department. You can contact them through this phone number that you see right here. You can contact them through the website that you see right here as well. So you can contact them through the phone number, the website, OTS chat. There's a BTAC chat function that you can also use. So just be aware of all of the things that you are able to use with D2L chat. I'm sorry, with the OTS department. Here you see all of this information. These are the first people you should contact if you have some sort of issue. You shouldn't be contacting me because I'm not always available. And not only that, my D2L sometimes looks a little different from yours. So just something to be aware of when it comes to D2L and D2L issues. So How will you be graded in this course? The discussion board is a very significant chunk of this class. A significant chunk because it has to take the place of face-to-face interaction in a classroom. It's not, the online classes aren't something where you just completely take that out of the way. So I will give you a series of questions. Those can range from anywhere from 3 to 5 questions. I'll never give you more than 5. I'll never give you less than 3. It's typically 4 or 5 questions per chapter per module. Your job is to answer all of those questions. Half the questions will be based upon analysis from the reading, from the chapter reading that you were supposed to read. And the other remaining questions will be your personal thought, what you personally think about certain situations. The total amount of words needs to be 500 words. That is not per question, that's total to answer all of the questions. So it's a minimum of 500. You're definitely allowed to write more than that. There's something that we call a first post due date. And with this first post due date, that's the due date that your very first post to answer the discussion board questions is due. I put this in my courses about a year ago because it prevents you from posting everything at 11:50 p.m. the very day that the module's due. When we do that, we don't allow for other people to respond to us, so it takes the whole class off, like it throws the whole class off. So putting an assigned first post due date gives your classmates time to actually respond to your post so that this part of the course actually works. So the first post due date, if you do not post your responses to the discussion board questions by the first post due date, it's automatically -5. You can always find the first post due date in 2 places. Number 1, on the course syllabus, and number 2, in the module itself, highlighted in the module itself, or bolded, I'm sorry, in the module itself. Not posting by the first post due date is an automatic -5 before I even start grading. And then you'll need to reply to your classmates. Replying to your classmates, you have to reply to at least 2 classmates, and each reply must meet a minimum of 150 words. You can reply to more than 2 classmates, but I will only grade 2 of them. So that means if you reply to 3 classmates, at least 2 of them must meet the minimum. If you reply to 3 classmates and none of them meet the minimum, then it's like you replied to no one. So just be aware of that. For this class, you'll start with the base company, and that base company will be the company that you will be researching and working with throughout the entirety of the semester. When you pick your base company, it could be any type of company. It could be a large corporation such as Amazon, such as Exxon, or it could be a small mom and pop shop that's only in Spring or only in the Woodlands. It doesn't make a difference. I would caution you to pick a base company that you know has an online media presence, an online social presence, and that you can readily find information about. For example, if you pick John's Taxes and Services, and John is your uncle, and he doesn't have a website or social media, or you can't view job postings or job openings, that's probably not the best base company to pick. But when we get further into the semester here in the next couple of weeks, I'll give you examples of some companies that students have picked in the past, and they've been large worldwide global corporations, and some students have actually picked some small shops here in the Houston area, and that's totally fine. But I want you to start thinking about what your base company is going to be. I always caution you to pick a base company of a company or corporation in which you want to work for in the future. Why? Because when you pick this base company based around that, you're probably going to find out, yes, this is how I need to structure my life in order to possibly work for these people in the future, or this is what I need to do to move up in this company or corporation. And one student told me she was happy last semester that we did the base company rationale, because the more she researched the company that she thought was her dream job, she actually found out through my class no, this isn't the company I want to work for. So when you select your company, can you change halfway through? Yes, but you want to select a base company that you're going to be working with throughout the entirety of the semester, and try to select a base company that you really want to work for in the future. We'll do a direct email memo, more information about that. You'll be writing a resume and a cover letter. And then one of the biggest things in this class is the informative speech. Please take a look at video and taping expectations of the speech here, as well as some helpful hints. One of the things that some of my students in this very class last fall semester did was about 5 or 6 of them started emailing each other very early in the class to set up a schedule. And that schedule allowed all 6 of them to go to the library on the University Park campus, and they all filmed their speeches there. These were 6 students who had a fear that they could not find 5 adult audience members, as well as they didn't think they had the means necessary to have the PowerPoint that is required. So what did they do? They contacted the University Park Library. The library set them up with a speaking area with a video camera, recorder, as well as the tools necessary to have a PowerPoint, and they just filmed everything on campus here at UP. So you're more than welcome to do that if you have a feeling or a fear that you cannot find 5 adult audience members, or for some reason you don't think you're going to get the PowerPoint portion of the speech down. And more information about this will come out as we go along. You will be doing a group project throughout the semester. Group project is required by Lone Star College, and more information about that. We'll do a Skype interview at the end of the semester. There are 3 exams, no exam reviews for any of the exam, including the final exam. There's a quiz, 12 quizzes per 1 quiz per chapter for each of the chapters, and those are in Connect as well. I do take plagiarism seriously. There really isn't anything in this course that can be plagiarized, possibly the group project, but if you do plagiarize, there are 2 offenses. The first one, you get a 0 on the assignment. The second time you plagiarize something, you'll get an automatic F for the course, and then I have to report you, and then the university will decide whether to expel you or whether to just suspend you. And there could be possible extra credit opportunities throughout the course of the semester. So these are all your evaluations and assignments. I do the point system here in my classes. Point system, all you have to do is add it up. Also, most four-year universities utilize the point system as well, so it gets you acclimated to that. And if you look in D2L, you will always see a running tally of your grades. You can see your real-time grade at every single point during the semester. I always keep that open, so you'll always know what you're making in my class. And this is the course calendar. We will not deviate from this at all. We will tend to stick to it. So if you want, write down the dates in your journal, in your calendar on your iPhone. Take certain dates to your bosses at work and say, hey, I need these dates off because we have this and this. Just be aware that these dates are pretty much set in stone. Very rarely will they change. If they do change, it's to give you more time to do something, and I will always let you know about that. For online courses, I always like to inform people about what an online course is about. I've taken online courses myself. Part of my doctorate degree is online, so and I've taught online for several years now. So just some online myths I want you to be aware of. Number one, people think online is work at your own pace. This really isn't the case. Well, I should take that back. It's kind of the case. It's 50-50. Yes, you can work at your own pace, meaning if you want to wake up at 3 in the morning and work on something, you're allowed to do that. However, there are due dates for assignments, just like a face-to-face class. This isn't a class to where I open everything up and you can just do everything in April and then turn it all in. That's not how online courses work. Myth number 2. There is more work or less work in an online class. I've had students tell me this before. They say, well, I think you're giving us more work because we're online. And my response is, no, you're actually doing the same stuff face-to-face classes are doing. It just looks like it's more work because I guess you're typing it out. I'm not too sure. But you're doing the exact same thing face-to-face classes are doing. It's no more work than face-to-face, and it's no less work than face-to-face. So I don't know where that typically comes from, but I've had students say both things, and it's false on both ends. Some people take online classes because they don't want to communicate with their classmates. They don't want to talk to them. They may be too introverted. They just don't want to see. You have your own reasoning for why you're taking an online class, whether that's kids. I know several of you have kids, whether that's kids, work, your work schedule, what have you. It's up to you why you want to take an online class, but you should be aware that taking online doesn't mean you don't have to interact with your classmates. The discussion boards take the place of class interaction and class participation. That's what they're designed to do. Without that, we would not have a classroom and we would not be gaining knowledge without some sort of interaction. And then the fourth myth is that online is easier or online is harder. This is coming from someone who's taught online for several years, who's taken online classes himself. I can just tell you, no, it's not harder or easier. It's just different. When I say different, I mean the information's just delivered different. There are some online classes that I've taken that have been easier than face-to-face, and I've had some face-to-face classes that were harder than my online classes. So it doesn't make a difference. It's just the information is delivered differently. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to post on the discussion board under the questions that maybe the questions discussion that will always be open. If you don't want to post it there, you can send me an email. Other than that, I look forward to having you in this class, and I think you're going to learn a lot about yourself and how to be a better employer in the workplace.